So anyway, it's good to be with you this morning. I have one announcement and I'm going to open it to a couple announcements so we give people just a couple minutes to join us. But I want to make sure that you've all marked your calendars for Monday, June 26th. And that was in your notification this week, and I sent it out again this morning. So if you go to the notification and scroll down, all the information is there, as well as the registration links. But the local launch for Compassionate USA, which was started here in San Antonio and designed here in San Antonio and being used across our entire country, will be launched locally Monday, June 26th, 6:30 p.m. at the Alamo College's district offices that are at 2222 North Alamo. It's a funny intersection. It almost feels like Broadway because it runs right into Broadway. It makes this real interesting intersection. So it's open to the public at no cost. Planners are asking that folks RSVP for planning purposes. It's in person and it's also going to be virtual, so you can sign up for either one of those. The Uvalde mayor and our mayor will be starting a community conversation among all those who are gathered together. And in fact, they will be viewing the video that we're viewing this morning. So that'll kind of give us a preview of that. I encourage you to take advantage of that evening and that opportunity. Bring your family with you. Bring a team from an organization with you that you work with on a regular basis. Announce it in your organization or congregation. I think it's going to be, I know it's going to be a rare opportunity to see the Uvalde mayor and our mayor talking together and what all has occurred in this past year and how we're all a part of that. And we're all a part of the future as well. So I hope that all of you will be there. I really want to see you there. And I hope that you will invite others. Seating is limited. There will be 280 seats and the seats are going. But I highly suggest to you that the in-person will be worth it. Not that the Zoom won't, but you all know what energy in a room is like. And when you're able to talk to each other about important concerns and then to also hear our leaders talk about them as well and involve us in that conversation. So I have my fingers and my hands crossed that you will all come. So one or two other announcements.
I'm inviting people at Incarnate Word to have supper together at 5 and drive together over to that memorable event.
Awesome. And that does remind me, we are trying to work on some refreshments for the evening. And with no budget for this, but we are trying to do that. So if you have any ideas that spark you of someone or some direction of folks that would like to maybe help with that, let me know, like in a separate email or something. One thing we were all supposed to do this morning, we were supposed to bring someone who was at half our age and doesn't look like us. So I have done that. I think I saw one, or I have two interns, ambassadors from this summer that are working with the Faith-Based Initiative and with Compassionate San Antonio, as well as Compassionate USA. Kayla is with us, Armbruster. She goes to Emerson College, born in San Antonio, but back for the summer, and she's going to be helping directly with Compassionate USA. So Kayla, if you're presentable, I invite you to open your screen so everybody can see that I brought somebody and invited somebody who looks a lot younger than I do. And I'm looking to see if Samantha was able to join us. Yeah, and Samantha is with us as well. Two people. I note this, two people. also born in San Antonio, and she goes to UTSA. And she's going to be working directly with Sonia in my office, and they're going to be working with each of our community collaboratives and finding out how effective they are, as well as kind of cleaning up the communications and who all is involved. So I brought two people. And if you brought somebody, if you would just kind of wave your hand or put a hand up or something, I'd love to see it. But that's all of our jobs is, yeah. Norma brought somebody. Way to go, Norma.
I did, but honestly, I forgot that you had asked us all to do that. But in the meantime, I connected with Jan Puckett, and there she is, and she's with us today. So great.
Yay, Jan Puckett. And Doug, did you bring somebody?
I didn't bring somebody, but I had a short announcement.
Oh, okay. Go, Doug, and then we're going to go into the video. Go.
I just wanted to let people know that next Tuesday, the 20th at 11 a.m., we'll be having a press conference at Antioch Missionary Baptist Church to announce that Bridges to Care and NAMI San Antonio received a major national grant from Build Health Challenge, which is there were 158 applications across the United States, and we were one of 13 awardees and the only one in Texas. And it is to build health equity in our community. And we're focused on mental health, and Bridges to Care is our project. And I wanted to thank Mignon Jones-Span for hosting us at Antioch next Tuesday. So everybody's invited, and we hope to see a few people out there.
Can you put that information in chat? What time?
It's at 11 a.m. and I'll put that in the chat now.
Okay. I want everybody to open their mics. Everyone. You don't have to open your screen if you're so bashful, but everybody open your mics and clap or give a yoo-hoo or whatever. That's amazing information.
Great work, Doug.
Hey!
Doug. Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
And Pastor-
that's like the
Pastor Kemp-
community saying amen. So
Yes,
Amen.
and Pastor Kemp is very excited to be hosting the press conference here in Antioch.
yeah.
Nice.
So I'm going to open my screen, and I've tested this, so I'm hoping it's going to work well. We tested the sound, we tested the screen. If you have headsets, I mean, I'm told it all is working well, but if you're concerned and have trouble hearing it, you might want to consider using earbuds or a headset. That's always clearer. I think we know that. So there are 6 videos that are a part of Compassionate USA, and they're in an order, but maybe the order might be something different for you or how you might want to use it. So this one is kind of number 5 in this series. It's on collective trauma and collective healing. I chose in our summer series together to kind of work from the larger picture back to our individual picture. That's kind of the direction I'm taking with the videos over this series. So I wanted to start with collective trauma, things like the pandemic that we've all experienced, things like school shootings that impact an entire community and beyond, have a ripple effect. Those things are collective trauma. And the healing, of course, is human, but it is a little different than individual humans healing. It's healing together and coming together. So I chose to start there in the series. And when you use the series in adult forums or with staff or with people you serve or with your family, you can choose those videos in whatever order you want, and you can watch them many times because they're just gonna live here. It's a very interactive website. So that's my introduction for this. And I gave you a little time to get your headphones plugged in if that's what you chose to do. Be the change.
Life is unpredictable. Our sense of stability and security diminished after facing a global health crisis, natural disasters, mass shootings, and intensified struggles with poverty and racism. However challenging and heartbreaking, these circumstances are part of the human experience. Because they happen to so many of us, these experiences are known as collective trauma. Collective trauma is a life-altering event that disrupts our well-being and causes harm and suffering to many people. It has long-lasting effects on our minds, bodies, and emotions. It is essential to recognize the impact of collective trauma in recent years and how our lived experiences may compound it. Maybe you have recently lost someone you love or are struggling with a chronic illness. Perhaps you're battling depression, addiction, or living with someone who is. Millions have lost their jobs during the pandemic. Some may have experienced an awful breakup or divorce. Many of us still carry the wounds from traumatic events during our childhood. How are you dealing with your collective trauma and your lived experience? Reflecting on these things might feel heavy, but the good news is you're not alone. We all experience some trauma in our lives. Still, just as we all experience trauma, we also have the extraordinary capacity to learn, heal, change, and grow. When exposed to positive, caring connections with other living beings, the human brain will adapt and change. This lesson is about discovering what collective trauma is, identifying how it impacts us all, and learning how to heal together. After this video, we will invite you to explore our website for some contemplative practices that can help you improve your physical and mental health. Now that we have defined collective trauma, let's learn how it impacts us. We are grateful to have an opportunity to learn from Dr. Junda Wu, Medical Director and Local Authority of Metro Health.
Our collective survival has depended upon mutual aid that we see in infants, we see in anthropology, we see in the animal kingdom, and that is an act of demonstrating compassion when we see a need or suffering in another individual. COVID-19 was a collective trauma for our community, our nation, the globe. During the pandemic, as the local health authority for the local public health department, it was my job to communicate a lot, and it wouldn't have been possible, really, to do the work without compassion because, especially as our society started to diverge and sometimes have some polarization around parts of the COVID response, we really needed to try to stand in other people's shoes to understand this. It was hard for me until really recently to even talk about that time without crying. It was hard. And at some point, I intellectually knew, well, that's reasonable, right? But then I got tired of it. I said, all right, but what is it? What am I stuck on? Well, feelings come from thoughts. So what is the thought that is underlying this feeling that you have? And as I dug down, I realized that my thought was not a rational one. My thought was like, I failed. I failed to hold back COVID from our community, which is, there are some flaws in that thought process. So once I realized that, it got better. When we see trauma that hasn't been healed, we see the cycle of violence, domestic violence, but also youth violence, historical trauma for our races, for our indigenous people, and the way that we continue to see unresolved resentment that is a part of the trauma that's not being healed. Unhealed trauma keeps you stuck. You are frozen at a place and unable to move forward together and possibly still harming those around you. You're not going to heal or get better as much as if you actually acknowledge it and then start to work on it. Collective healing looks like when we forget about our tribal differences and reach out after a disaster or a trauma, knowing how we can all do that together and create an environment where other people can heal too. Knowing about support groups, whether it's in person, whether it's virtual, nurturing friendships, nurturing the things that let you become whole again, whatever that is for you. I have a lot of hope because the arc of history, even though we may take a few steps back over time, we go forward and there are tools to heal. The brain is plastic and wants to heal. So this is a valuable opportunity.
Now that we have learned a bit about collective trauma and how it affects us, here are some healing practices that you can try on your own or with others. Take care of yourself. Notice your breath and what is happening in your body. If you notice tension, take deep breaths. Go outside or watch a show, listen to a podcast that makes you laugh or inspires you. Take care of one another. Listen deeply to each other and spend time in supportive relationships like faith communities, with friends, family, and healing circles. Take care of your community. Volunteer, vote, join community organizations, attend memorials, vigils, and protests. We hope you enjoyed this video. These are just a few ways to deal with the stress and trauma that is part of our human experience. For more resources and to continue learning, please visit the link on the screen and join the Compassionate USA Skills course.
So I hope you were all able to hear that okay. And can you believe that was produced here in San Antonio? I'm so proud of the fact that we've been able to do that. It was done through Alamo College's district. And I'll look quickly down the participants to see if we have any of those designers with us. But while I scroll, I even want to invite you to go a little bit old school. So if you have pen and paper for your own advantage, right? I want to invite you to mull for a moment on what resonated most for you in that video. What resonated most?
For me, Ann, it was when Dr. Wu talked about feelings, recognizing that the feelings come from a thought, and then going back to figure out what is the thought that has you stuck and has you anxious, and is it rational, and how do you sort of move past that thought?
Others, and you can write it in chat, or you can just be bold and speak it.
Anne.
Yes.
I have a question / concern. I thought that the video was beautiful and beautifully produced. And about trauma, knowing that when there's an intense trauma, the nervous system, our being intelligently protects us. And some of those old traumas become frozen within us. And we don't know that we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, but it's in there. And my concern is, well, I'm just wondering what kind of resources besides contemplative practices and going for walks in nature and such. Like if somebody really happens feeling this invitation to open up, opens a gate that really unleashes something very powerful that needs a different kind of accompaniment, like a real therapeutic environment of some sort, or some deeper kind of holding. So that kind of eventuality, is it like covered? I feel like it should be.
So I think part of the response is that, you know, like, where do you do this? And if something, I mean, we could be practicing that right now, right? In terms of anybody here on the screen that this speaks to in a particular way and needs more support. I hope that you're already thinking about who you can go to that you already know. And if you don't have somebody to go to, that you know, that we connect and you let us know. I know that in this series, they're going to be covering many different kinds of things to do. The examples this morning were the examples this morning. They won't be the next examples in the next video. So, Randy.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to kind of say the same thing that Doug put in the chat, which is what I got from it was a sense of hope that we can be part of a shared positive group conscience. That's kind of what a lot of this is thinking together on these societal and community problems, to work together on them. I think it's very hopeful, very positive. Thank you.
And I thought we had another hand up.
You
But
did.
maybe it went down.
It was me, Anne.
Dr. Keeley.
Sorry. One, yes, absolutely. I think putting this into context of the larger community and helping people recognize that they're not alone in this, that it is a group experience that we're having, but also I feel like so many people that are going to see this video for the first time aren't going to have the words to describe what this video is describing for them. And it's going to be this aha moment. And I think that that's what this tool is. It allows people to finally have the words to deal with what they're experiencing and allow them to ask the questions to make the next steps. You know, this isn't, I don't think that, just correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that in creating these sequence of videos and creating Compassion San Antonio, I don't think we were going to fix the problem, but it allows people to have tools to start dealing with it. And I love that we're allowing that to be a reality for people across the country. So
Yeah, part of it was the intent to develop some common language around it, and that culture shifts and grows out of language. So if we could just have some very basic common language, and I'm going to open it to Doug, but before I do, I'm also thinking, so I'm thinking of Sharon, but I'm thinking of others. If there are others out there in our midst that would be open to opening themselves to conversations with other individuals about this. I mean, that's a big openness. I get that. But if there are a couple people even here and you're open to that, I invite you to put your name in chat and say, I'm open to talking to other people and hearing from you, and maybe a way to connect. Doug, you want to open your mic?
Well, as I was listening to this, I was thinking, you know, first of all, about the Surgeon General's message about loneliness and the importance of being in community. And I think of the support groups and being in faith community, being together in some group, I think as an antidote. You know, in other words, too oftentimes we wait till the crisis occurs, but we need to be in an ongoing basis, we need to be part of some group. And at NAMI, we have support groups for both people living with a mental health diagnosis and for families. I've been doing it for over 10 years, helping lead a group with my wife. And it is an incredibly healing opportunity, and people come with a lot of trauma. And to see the impact that being in a group and being able to share that trauma the healing is amazing. So that's one of the things that I've noticed as I listened to this video.
Mhm. Dr. Keeley, do you want to open your mic?
Hello, I thoroughly enjoyed the video. I'm a graphics person, having my first degree in TV radio, so it was well put together. The invitation was sweet and embracing. However, the Columbia Psychiatry Department notes that 20% of African Americans experience anxiety and generalized anxiety on a daily basis. I am hoping that within this work, we can make sure, because of the gun violence in our schools and the gun violence in communities of color, we can be more inclusive in talking about trauma, not just from a historical perspective in the African American community, but in a right now moment. And I am glad that I will be leading the trauma-informed ministry model for communities of color from Substance Abuse Mental Health Services Administration and West Care Foundation. We'll be rolling that out, and it has so many similarities, but we will be specifically targeting communities of color, the Promise Zone, and choice neighborhoods. Thank you for showing us that video, because now it has given me some tips and ideas on how to put ours together. Thank you.
And Keeley, you'd be able to utilize it as well.
Absolutely.
Right. It also makes me think these videos and all of Compassionate USA are not meant to have all the information. They're meant to like open doors. So people start the conversation, but again, with some common language to even start the conversation. So I'm guessing, Keeley, that you're open to hearing from people, and so that you'll probably put your
Absolutely.
I know.
Absolutely. I guess being an African American, when I don't see us included in the conversation, sometimes I need a little prayer. So y'all know how to pray for me now. I just cannot forget about what I am seeing and sensing among our people. And I'm going to push for everybody, because I love human beings. I just want to make sure that we are a part of the movement and the conversation. And of course, I'll do my part to make sure that that happens.
Great. I'm going to take just a pause before I call on Sam, Peter, and Beverly, because it's 8:29. And I want to thank all those who've come this morning and give opportunity and respect to those who may need to leave us at this point. Next week, we're going to be looking at compassion and systems. So I invite you to kind of take this question with you. This information today on collective trauma and collective healing, where does that connect specifically in your life? And to try to name that for yourself, both individually and maybe even collectively, right? So maybe you name it as the pandemic, right? Or you name it because I also talked about things that have happened in our past. So maybe it's something within the family, but also then name it something publicly that you're involved in. And an easy way to do that, if you're involved in one of the collaboratives, all of our collaboratives are connected to collective trauma. So how does this form of collective healing relate to the type of work that we're doing in terms of those collaboratives and those community concerns. So I invite you between now and next Thursday to think very specifically about collective trauma and how you are connected to it personally and publicly. And then I invite you to think about both of those things as systems. And so next week will be about systems. So we're going to continue the conversation for those who wish to stay and have the time to do so. Sam.
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm gonna try and keep it short and sweet because I see more hands coming up, so I want to take up too much time. My name's Samuel Gomez. I'm the fatherhood manager of the San Antonio Fatherhood Campaign. We're under the umbrella of the American Indians of Texas at the Spanish Colonial Missions. So obviously we're a Black and brown company that comes from a very deeply cultural perspective and indigenous perspective, and not only in everything that we do, but through our curriculum. We like to think, what we specialize in is connecting the disconnected through a philosophy of la cultura cura, meaning that the culture cures. But what it really means is transformational health and healing. Being that we are a trauma-informed company, everything about that video kind of transcended what we do as a company. It's all about inner self-care, inner peace, finding harmony with ourselves and others. What's really lacking in the household nowadays with all these issues that we're having with domestic violence and all these other negative types of things that are happening in our communities. So we do that through transformational health and healing, through healing circles, with having open, trusting conversations with men and women, and even with the families. I went through some PESI training last week, and the first person that really quickly commented first, I understand now, that there's so many different ways of healing, because this training I went to for 16 hours, I mean, these were like PhD people who are talking about parts. Let me talk to this part of you. And for me, who's somebody who's, that's not my training or certification, was very interesting to me, because he actually took a couple of live people and put them in this, and it was, for me, it was like, wow, that's, so it makes me want to kind of like read up on it, and kind of do a little studying on it, because there's so much inside this brain of ours, and for all of us, it operates differently. So I think when we have these collective, meetings, it gives us all different ways of addressing these problems and issues. So thank you, Ann. Oh, and send me the videos too, Ann. I appreciate it.
Well, I was just putting it into chat because that question came up. These are public access, and they're on the CompassionateUSA.org website. And it's important that you put compassionate, that ATE. There's also a CompassionUSA.org. It's not the same thing, good organization, but it's a different thing. So it's CompassionateUSA, all run together.org. And you can just scroll down on the landing page and the videos are there. And the micro course, because then there's a course that goes with this. We haven't even talked about, but goes into each of these topics much deeper. And so I encourage you to do the micro course as well. You can also go to the ribbon at the top of the page, and you will see, videos and micro course there. All of that is at no cost. But I think we can also see, even in what we're hearing, how important this is and valuable to do it within settings that might have some trust already, some familiarity, right? And but a way to build that community and that trust and relationships. Peter.
Yes, thank you, Ann. Excellent videos, and I can see the value, and I really appreciate the way you said it opens doors. And we just recently, as you know, we launched our mental wellness, Bridges to Care mental wellness program. We had a great response, and this just reminds me of how through these collaboratives, and when doors opened, and how we're able to inspire and empower and equip our community members to, within that process, when I went through those courses, I got the help for myself in those places that you don't even realize that you need to deal with as you're going through and it empowers you. And so I see the value of how it just multiplies throughout our community. And I just want to thank Doug for championing this, and congratulations on the grant. More power to the system, and Minion, of course, for giving us that, being that mentor to us in bringing along our program. And we're just building it, but had a great response. So I'm really excited how we're building it out, and already seeing results. But we're in our infancy, but it's a great experience. So thank you. I look forward to the rest of the trainings and the teachings and the whole movement. I'll be there on Monday. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, this information is very foundational to everything that we do. And we could even look at different programs in our city, for better or for worse, however good they are, right? But they're utilizing these concepts, and we can become stronger if we have better understanding and have more of us working together in understanding. Beverly, you want to open your mic?
Good morning to everyone. First of all, congratulations, Doug, for that. And Mignon, thank you for always for supporting and hosting the press conference. You've always been the first person out there to really see a good idea to really help execute in our community. And to everyone there, I wanted to just really make one good point. We started our summer youth development program this year. And it's 100% free to everyone. All the field trips, all the lessons and instructions, all of that is free to everyone. So we have approximately 277 young people who will be having from June 12th all the way through the first week of August. I'm sharing that with you because one of the things that came up, and it reminded me, I think, in terms of these films, something that I would hope maybe, and we can do here in Texas or create or whatever. But one thing that we found out, you all, in working with these young people, on a daily basis, we have had both children and or their parents come to us with issues that they are dealing with in their life. Some of these children are definitely acting out. I mean, again, when they're coming to us and they haven't bathed, you can tell for days, we're able to work with the parent, just to do things that would be shocking to us sitting on this phone, knowing that we've got children living like this, and the trauma that the child, because as we were doing a training on drugs and the harms of drugs, so many of the kids said, I don't want to do this because I don't want to be like my mom or my dad or whatever. And it was so shameful because we know that a child living in that home is going through ongoing trauma. A 6-year-old is trying to care for his his 3-year-old brother or sister, trying to figure out what they can make breakfast with. So we're sending food packets home with them on the weekend so that they can do this. I'm just simply saying, y'all, in that it didn't really talk about that, but I kind of feel that sometimes our children are the forgotten casualties along our, that we forget about them and how we can help them on an ongoing basis. You guys, anybody who would like to come volunteer, we love you. Anybody who would like to maybe come have a part-time job if you're a certified teacher, anyone who wants to do that, please send them our way. But I just wanted to put that on there. I want to thank everybody for their support and to just put on the table for us not to forget the children who are oftentimes casualties and adults' behavior. So that's all I wanted to say.
I'm wondering too.
Sorry. I'm sorry that it's kind of off point. I'm sorry, but it is
no. But Beverly, I'm wondering too if you're thinking about how you could utilize even these videos during the summer. With
oh, you got it. We're gonna show them. We're gonna put them on a loop.
But like with parents as well, with volunteers, and I want a quick, and then we'll turn to Jackie. I want a quick look at the website so people get comfortable with it, and it's an interactive website. So here's the web address, right? And you made me think of it, Beverly, because right here at the beginning, you can sign up right away, but this is dedicated to families, children, communities that are healing. And so trying to keep that, in our minds, in our forefront, yes, we're doing this for ourselves. Yes, we're doing this work for our community. But as equally, or for me, more importantly, we are doing it for the future, right?
Yes.
And we have got to, I mean, we've had shootings in our city in the last, I don't know, week or 10 days that these have got to stop. They should not be our norm. We have had more mass shootings in this country this year than we've had days. This has got to stop, right? This is the landing page again, and you can go to the ribbon at
Amen.
the top and you can find the videos and micro course, but you can also scroll down. And there's a trailer here that you can use with others, but here are the videos. And this is the one we just watched, and we're going to be watching next time on systems, but then you can go a little bit further, and this is where you sign up for the no cost micro course. And this is where you also go to become a partner in any organization, congregation. We need local partners as much as we need national and international partners. So one last question, I'm going to hand it to Jackie.
Good morning, Ann and everyone. I just wanted to say, and I enjoyed the video. And we talk about healing. I just want to let you know, my cousin was murdered in the Columbine shooting. So from that point on, you know, our lives were always kind of focused on within ourselves and about ourselves. But I stopped and I realized that we needed to do more to try to let people know who we are, to come together and forgive and go on and try to live productive lives. But I know Beverly was mentioning the children. We have to remember the children because they are the future. But yet instead, we have to remember the parents as well. Because if the mothers and these fathers are having difficulties in their lives where they're standing out alone, they just need a hand up and someone to help them along the way. From what I found out, we have, as of this month, we have 3,000 and some clients. Our clients are basically asking for help. We have all the shelters are full to capacity. It should not be. And the gang members are targeting, from what I'm hearing, the gang members are targeting these children that are homeless, that are sleeping on the streets with their parents, that are going from house to house. This is why we're having all these killings. People are saying one thing, but the streets are saying another. They need help. And so that's why I'm trying to, my organization, Building Brighter Communities, we have volunteers that actually work with us on a daily basis, who come out and we go from door to door to talk to these clients. Our clients are calling us just by word of mouth because we try to fix their situation. If we can't fix it, we reach out to someone who can. And that's why this video means a lot. We need to work together and make sure that we accomplish the main goal of having some type of solace and peace, not just in our lives, but in their lives as well. Because we're grooming, basically we're grooming a generation that will have no compassion. And it's sad to say, but I think we need to do a little bit more as far as helping these mothers. During the COVID, a lot of the mothers were evicted, single mothers. The city shut down, they had no jobs. And I think these evictions should have been basically waived, because if they had been waived, they would have been able to get another apartment instead of having to wind up in the shelter. So I just wanted to say, Ann, thank you so much for that video. You are wonderful because you care, and I see it. And you all to be here, I know you guys care. But we have to reach out and touch these parents and help them start their own lives which they want to be. They're not asking for free things. They're asking for just a hand up, a better paying job where they can take care of their families. We shouldn't have to continue to give out food if we are helping a mother or father get a job that can create the desires that they need or that they're wanting. I just wanted to thank you guys for your time. And thank you.
Well, and Jackie, I want to, and we're going to close. I want to
Thank-
thank you because you just gave us in your life a perfect example of compassion and its full cycle.
Yes,
So you spoke of the family member who was murdered
yes,
and how painful that was. And somewhere in all of that, and there are probably people with you along the way in that,
yes.
you found a sense of action. And that's what compassion has. It's a step beyond empathy. It's that or sympathy or suffering. It's that step where you go, I could do something different. I
Yes.
could take an action and I could do something different. And so in the work that you're doing, I'm more than speculating, but that you are also finding healing in the work that you're doing.
I am.
And that's compassion. Compassion produces energy and it eases our suffering once we engage it.
Yeah.
And so your life and what you just described is a perfect example of compassion as an
Because-
antidote to our
Yeah.
suffering. So
Thank
I want
you.
to thank everybody for being here. I want to encourage everybody to bring another person with them next week who's half your age and doesn't look like you. And we'll be talking about systems, which takes us another step deeper. Thanks all for being with us and have great weekends.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you all.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.